Wow, that's cool. So what's the, I don't know, maybe it's totally different for every type of cheese, but what's sort of the general process of to make cheese? Like how is it made?
I mean, what's amazing about cheese is it's really only three ingredients. It's milk. It's something that acidifies the milk or makes the milk curdle, so you have curds and whey. And
Okay.
so you drain off all that liquid. You're left with these solids, and that is the basis of cheese. Okay, so for
Oh.
just those two things, as an acidifier, you can use, for example, vinegar or lemon juice if you're making ricotta. Then there's always salt, like almost all
Hmm.
cheese is salted, and then there are cultures that go into different styles of cheese. So if you want to make a cheddar, you would use a particular kind of culture. If you wanted to make a Gouda, you would use a different culture. So those are bacterial cultures that create certain flavors.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so that's the basic building block. Almost all cheese, you go into any cheese company or cheese factory, you see like vats of milk. You see that get acidified, so the milk or the whey separates from the curds. They take the curds and they pack them into forms, so wheels.
Right.
And some cheeses are huge and some cheeses are tiny, so that affects the texture and things like flavor. But it's not a simple process, but it's shocking how many different cheeses you can make using so few ingredients.
Right.
Everything is technique, so the skill of the cheesemaker, and everything really kind of stems from the quality of the milk, and that all goes into like what are those animals eating.
Okay.
So I was just in the French Alps, for example, and those are some of the best, most flavorful cheeses because the meadow pastures where the cows graze have so many different kinds of plants. Like one cheesemaker we visited high in the Alps said, the reason my cheese is so good is because I have 300 different kinds of plants growing in the meadows where my cows graze. So you compare a cheese from there compared to maybe a cheese made in Pennsylvania where maybe the animals are eating 5 different kinds of plants or just 2 different kinds of grass, right? They're not getting the variety in the diet that builds
Okay.
flavor cheese. So a lot of the flavor that comes through in great cheeses that are like prize winners, cheeses that people pay a lot of money for, come from animals raised on these incredible pastures. So a lot of like French cheeses are prized because the animals, are grazing these lush valleys. Or in the Alps, supposedly the higher the animals get up in the mountains, the better the pastures because they're more pristine. There's no pollutants up there.
Oh, okay.
He has been in there tinkering and raising different crops. It's just wild, wild nature. So you get all kinds of wildflowers and berries and little bushes, and the animals are eating those things. And so the milk up there is like the milk of the gods.
Wow. Have you tried like that kind of just the milk when it's not just cheese?
Yeah, I mean, milk varies different times of year, just as like, different plants are coming up at different times of year. So like spring milk will taste different from fall milk based on, especially if those animals are outside eating.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, you can, especially if you're drinking unpasteurized milk, like those mountain milks. I mean, those milks, there's nothing like them. You're
Yeah.
tasting like floral notes and grasses and anything that the animals are eating really sometimes will come through, even like a little bit of mint. Like farmers can tell you like, I get a little mint, there's a little clover in there, maybe a little lavender. You do get those little nuances coming through in the milk.
Wow, that's cool. I really want to try that. That sounds fun. That sounds awesome.
Actually, I went to this amazing aging cave where they store the wheels of cheese by elevation. So they literally know, which pastures, which part of the mountain each cheese comes from. And buyers from cheese shops in Europe will come in and choose kind of by elevation, like how many meters high do they want that Comte to come from.
Whoa.
It is so freaking interesting, you can't believe it.
Yeah. That's cool. So I
Yeah.
guess is there kind of like a cheese capital, like, or is it just everywhere?
Question. I used to always think it was France because
Uh-huh.
France, has incredible cheeses and they consider